the Business Expo with each of your candidates. Once again, here's Sean Sullivan, live from the Arthur R. Outlaw Convention Center.
All right, and welcome back. Yeah, we are here at the Convention Center during the Chamber of Commerce's Business Expo, and this is going on until 3 o'clock today. Of course, we are going to be part of it here until 3, but we'll be talking to the candidates for just a little bit more. But a reminder, until 3 o'clock today, $5 with your business card to get in. And appreciate the people chiming in on social media. You can watch this feed if you want to watch it from Facebook. You can go to facebook.com/FM Talk 106.5. Of course, here on the radio and, like I said, in person right here at the Convention Center. So here we go, and more questions. I will say this, that one of the things that came up, I saw that people were posting up about the wave, and we'll just throw this out, is maybe infrastructure beyond the buses. Like you were talking about, I think Spiro had said something about waiting in the sun, but they were asking questions about, well, maybe it's not just the buses, maybe it is where you wait on the buses and the places you get in on that. So, but that'll be a conversation for the future. I want to go to this next one, and it's a conversation about money, right? It's always a conversation about money. So would you support, as mayor, or oppose any move to remove the penny sales tax increase for the city of Mobile? So would you oppose it? Would you promote removing the penny sales tax, or keep it where it is? Barbara, you are first.
I would not support it because that penny is now creating $65 million for the city coffers. One of the reasons the city now enjoys a AA stable rating from Moody's, in Moody's Analytical, that penny is the reason we are so stable right now. I would not. That's why we can now recruit all the industry, and we're seeing all the progress. That penny came along when there was a downturn in the economy, and it has stabilized Mobile's future. And Moody has said that this is the reason why our future is so bright. That penny is creating opportunity for the city of Mobile.
All right, Connie.
The funding for the 1 cent sales tax has been obligated. The revenue has been obligated for capital projects going forward. So it would not be feasible at this point to roll that back. You know, if you were to stop those capital projects sometime in the future, potentially. But I think the community has come to expect these projects throughout the 7 council districts in the city, and they've seen the benefits of what it has accomplished. And so, you know, if the community wanted to vote to roll it back, then, you know, I would respect the wishes of the community. But I think it has done a lot of good.
Spiro, you're next.
I don't think I would support it right now in our current economic position, but I think it could be a feasible reality in the future. When you look at the sales tax paid on internet goods, and that includes, I order something from, let's say, Greer's, and online, go pick it up at Greer's, I'm going to pay a different sales tax than if I just walked in and picked everything out myself. That's happening at restaurants, retail shops. Our brick and mortar is frankly at a disadvantage based on our internet sales tax right now. If we can clarify that and get, you know, goods that are sold inside our city, whether online or in person, on a level playing field, I do think it could be possible. I would, you know, in the end, we got to make sure the dollars work or nothing else works. But it's something I would certainly look at if we can address that issue with SSUT and that internet sales tax.
All right, Paul.
I would simply say that I'm not a fan of taxes, period, but we have to pay them. I would be encouraged to audit the books and find out where the frivolous spending is. If we can get rid of it, my position would be to. Moody said we're stable, but the reality of it is that's because it's excess. And if it's excess, then there's room to trim. My position is simply this, is let's look at the books. Let's find out how we've overextended ourselves. There's a lot of things that we've committed to that could have been halfway paid for, such as the Civic Center. Probably could have paid, instead of $300 million, maybe half of that if we would have developed and partnered with the private industry. I think there's a better way to do things. I'm not committed to getting rid of it right now, but I do believe that if we audit the books, look at it, do our due diligence, even if we can repeal it 5 or 10 years down the road, we certainly need to entertain it and relieve the burden off the community.
Paul, thank you. I tell you what happened here. So we're going to do an audible because the mention of the SSUT got me thinking about something. So we'll keep the same order for this one for the question here. Would you, if you were mayor of Mobile, join this lawsuit that is Tuscaloosa, Mountain Brook, or this lawsuit over the distribution of the internet, SSUT, will you join on that and talk about what Mobile should get from it? So first up, Barbara.
Well, I was one of the individuals in the legislature that voted for the cities and the counties to get a share. Voted with the state association for the county as well as for the municipal association. So yes, I would.
All right, Connie, you're next.
I think as opposed to grappling over the way that it is distributed now, and I think Mr. Chirigatis hit on the problem here, that it's not equal. You know, you can go to a brick and mortar and you're going to pay more than if you're ordering it online. I think it should be across the board. If it's in the state, if it's 10% here in Mobile, then it should be 10% when you order it, and that way we can distribute that and everybody gets a bigger share of that pie.
All right, Spiro, well, back to you.
You know, it's distributed differently than our current sales tax, that brick and mortar sales tax. If you're living out in the county, you're paying more than you should be. If you're living in the city, you're not paying as much as you should be. I think we have to look at it. I can't say that I would join that lawsuit immediately. I think that kind of litigation, well, it's expensive, but it should be a last resort. I would continue to try and find ways to address it with the legislature. Hopefully find legislative fixes to this so that we can, you know, who doesn't want to protect brick and mortar? It's hard to have a retail business these days with all the online sales. I think we can get our legislators to see the importance of protecting that brick and mortar.
Paul.
I think we should grapple over the money. It's nearly $1 billion a year to the state of Alabama. Mobile is arguably the second largest city in the state of Alabama, and I think that we need that money here. We don't have a problem taxing our citizens a 1 cent sales tax and make excuses why, you know, we don't get rid of the 1 cent sales tax, but we're not willing to go after the money that rightfully belongs. I guarantee you the state probably needs to do a study to find out how much of that money really is coming from Mobile County and find a way to equal that money based on population and certainly based on where the money is being spent. Brick and mortar is important, but the reality is with the future and with the way things are going, buying online merchandise is not going to change.
Right. Thank you, Paul. This one here, not far from where we're sitting right now. I guess it is on Monday that the first official Amtrak route will run between Mobile and New Orleans. Let's talk about that. If you were elected mayor, what would you push for funding? We have allocated, it's about $3 million at this point for this Amtrak. If we get to the end of the 3 years and it's still not breaking even or losing money, would you support allocating additional dollars beyond the $3 million already pledged for Amtrak? First up here, Connie.
Well, I think there again it's hypothetical. We have to look at what's happening in the next 3 years. We all hope that it's going to be successful. The intention is that it is, and I see a benefit, the connectivity on the Gulf Coast between the cities, between New Orleans and Mobile. I think there's definitely advantages to having that, and unless there's a reason that that it's not producing at all, then I think we'll have to step back and look at our funding mechanism for that.
Yeah, I guess my question here too, additionally, is like, well, how much though? You know, if we get to that point, how much would we continue to contribute and for how long?
Well, I think it depends on what's coming out of the operation itself, what's being produced, the fares and so forth. And that would that would go into the matrix of how much the city would have to be putting in to make it successful, to keep it operating.
Thank you. Barbara, you're next.
I am a proponent and happy that we have Amtrak, so I think that we need to evaluate them at the end of that period. But I think Mobile's future is so great. We're going to build a whole lifestyle change, and we're going to create an eco-tourism market, and people are going to want to come here, and that is going to be a good vehicle to bring them here. So I think that we need to not only evaluate their contract in the future, but look at what impact it's making for the ridership of bringing people into Mobile and keeping people in Mobile.
Thank you. Paul, you're next.
I like the Amtrak's here. I don't know that we set up the proper infrastructure for it. What I've seen so far is that, the patrons that are going to ride it really don't have any overhead to protect them from inclement weather. So I think we're kind of setting ourselves up a little bit for failure. But saying that to say this is that, we want it to be successful. I think it's a great program, but I can assure you if we commit any amount of money to it from the city taxpayer dollars, the problem we have in government is we don't do the follow-up. And the follow-up's important is what is the return on the investment if we give $3 million? What did we get out of that in way of ridership, whether it's fees or not, and what type of benefit did it bring to the economy, certainly in the city of Mobile?
Paul, thank you. Spiro.
Ticket sales are just one way to measure the impact of something like that. I'm excited about it. I heard just the other day the first 3 trains coming to our area are completely sold out. That's amazing. You got to look at how much time and money are the people spending after they get off of that train. How much time and money are they spending here in Mobile? You can look at increased hotel stays, increased money spent in our restaurants, our entertainment areas. In the end, if government is going to be efficient, it has to continuously be evaluating itself. We have to continually measure that economic impact, and we can do that with partners like the Chamber of Commerce, Visit Mobile. We can study the impact of that. I can't say that I'm willing to throw an endless amount of money at it to keep it, but if we can show that it might not be breaking even, but that it's bringing an economic impact to our region, I would certainly be willing to supplement it in some way.
Thank you, Spiro. This question here, and then we got some listener questions coming up. But this one for me, before we get into that. So if you don't win this election, so we're speaking to 3 of y'all. If you don't win this election, what are you going to do next? What's next for you? Spiro, you're first.
Might be bagging groceries, but I don't know. I don't really do backup plans. I like to focus on one goal and march towards it. I can't say I thought about it. I'll pray. I will definitely sleep in one day, maybe 3, but I'll pray about it and I'll talk to my wife and we'll find a way forward for our family.
All right, Paul.
Yeah, it's a great question. So for me, I'm fighting to win, and I think that we certainly have the momentum, and certainly nobody in this campaign is outworking me. And I don't say that to be pretentious. I really want the job. I really want to continue to serve Mobile. I'm relatively young and in good health, and I want to stay in the business, and there's no better way to do it as the mayor. If I'm not able to win the election for whatever reason, I do see certainly a career in politics. And unlike the chief's job, you've got to be in a position where you can pull the strings and make things happen. But you also have to have the courage, and I think I'm the guy that has that.
Connie.
I would beg to differ with Mr. Prine. I think nobody in this campaign is outworking me. I know it for a fact. And I would say that, I absolutely love public service. And I'm running for mayor because I know I can make a difference. I know my experience matters. And I want to see Mobile thrive and be prosperous and improve the quality of life for everybody, including my grandchildren who are growing up here. But I will stay in public service just as long as I can, and I feel I can be a benefit to the community, and I can continue the projects that I'm working on that I know are beneficial. So that's the plan.
All right, Barbara.
I was a public servant when I walked into this campaign, and I'll be a public servant until the day that I leave this earth, because I believe in Mobile, I believe in her future, and I think that it is fine time for a female to lead the effort in the mayor's office, because that's when you're going to see all the backbone, because women can work.
Very good, thank you. We'll get into some listener questions now. These are from people that live in Mobile, voters in Mobile. That have sent in their questions. First up, Adam says, do you think the city is or is not basically on track? And if or if not, excuse me, what is one major specific thing you would do or implement that's different from this current administration? First up, Paul.
Reduce crime. We can build all the buildings, build all the water parks, soccer fields, the aqua centers. All them things are great and they're fine. But the reality of it is that people don't feel safe. You've heard me say it, Sean, many times. People want to be able to work, live, and play in their community. And right now, whether it's a reality to people or whether it's just perception, crime is a problem. And people they want their kids to be safe. They want their grandkids to be safe. And unlike the current administration, I took it serious, and I'll take it serious as the mayor.
All right, next, Spiro.
Crime has been falling in many ways, but the truth is it's hard to see it if you turn on the news. I would certainly focus in to a different degree on gun violence specifically with our police department. I would certainly focus on public transportation in a new way that would be different. In general, I think our city is heading in a beautiful direction. I'm excited about the future for this city, but I do think there are issues that need to be addressed. I'm one of those people that think, idle hands lead to trouble, and so I love the idea of reinvesting more money in positive programs for our kids, both after school and in the summer when they're out of school. I think we see the results of some reduced funding when you look at our gun violence around our city, so that's something I would take a hard look at increasing.
Very good. Barbara.
I think that I would look, as I said earlier, I would incentivize our neighborhoods, because crime is a problem in the city of Mobile, but it's a symptom of people not having an opportunity to those things that can better their lives. I'd incentivize the neighborhood to get rid of the blight, to give opportunities to our young people to be trained, because we are living in a time where we're seeing that an idle mind is a devil's workshop. And I would try to get some of the guns off of the street. Permitless carry has gotten so many guns on the street, and I would start retooling and rethinking our lifestyle here in Mobile.
And Connie.
Crime is certainly the number one issue and what we have to address immediately, and we can take steps to address crime. I think part of that is happening with our youth gun violence that we see almost every day on the news, that we need to build the number one juvenile crime division in the state of Alabama and address it, address gang activity that we see so much of, and really focus efforts in funding and priorities and manpower on working to address and reduce youth gun violence. I think that it's not mutually exclusive crime. I mean, while we're addressing that, we can't ignore everything else. We have to address the other issues, and that's what our citizens expect. I keep hearing about sports facilities and what have you. Well, guess what? That is all part of the quality of life in this community, and they keep young people busy. We have to keep young people busy and keep them off the streets and engaged in positive activities that will help them, educational activities and sports and things like that will help young people move forward and be in better peer groups.
Thank you. And we've got a few minutes here before the news. Let me try to, we can get this one in because you mentioned the teen violence. So what can be done? So there are groups out in Mobile that are not police department, not city government. They're groups that are working to reduce teen violence. I happen to be part of one of them. I know it from the grassroots. Existing organizations out there that are dealing with teen gun violence.
Yes.
What would you do if elected mayor to support them? Would you fund them? Would you give them a platform? What would you do for these NGOs to help them fight teen gun violence? And first, here is Barbara.
I would work with them, but now as far as funding, I would look at the viability, because everything doesn't need funds. Some things need people who care about those kids. I'm a volunteer of many. I think of one that I'm doing this summer with Dearborn, who's working with kids for the summer. I sent 50 kids to camp over there because I feel like that's what we need. We need to give opportunities. Every opportunity doesn't come along with a price tag. It comes along with people who actually care about young people, who will listen to them and give them a voice. If we put nothing into them, we get nothing out of them. It may cost some money, but we need to look at those programs that are making a difference, that's serving as the village.
Paul's up next. Yes.
So I'll tell you this, we've been doing the same strategic plans for over the last 30 years. We never measured its success, but we know that crime is continuing to go up. My position is simply this, that just like we talked earlier, that the mayor has to lay out the vision of where you want to go with the city. I would partner with the city through subcommittees to be able to say, listen, Here's our subculture of gun violence. We know that those committing most of the crime are between the ages of 15 24. How do we work with the nonprofits? Government can't solve everybody's problems. Government can't be in the home. And we know when fathers are not in the home, we're going to continue to have a large part of these problems, especially morality problems where kids are killing kids. That's an issue. But the truth is we can certainly work with the school system and work with the nonprofits, and that is going to cost money. But if we're going to give money to nonprofits, I don't think we grade and measure our success. And what I would commit to is working with every nonprofit, and they don't like to work well together, bring them to the table, and then at the end of every year, if they do not spend the money wisely, if they cannot show us the success of their program, we call them out, we go with a different program.
Thank you, Paul. Connie, you're next.
Well, I think it's critical that we partner with organizations in the community that, like you mentioned, Sean, that you're a part of, that can help us. Government can't do it all. We can't solve all the problems alone, but we can work with faith-based community. We can work with nonprofits, groups that are committed, that are passionate about making a difference in the lives of young people. Boys and Girls Club, the Nest, and Project Inspire being another one. That's a great program that definitely needs to be expanded, and I think the city could be a big part of that. You know, this is a hospital-based nonviolence program for youth. They take referrals from Strickland Youth Center, but we could open that up and allow them to take referrals from the school system, from the churches, wherever there are children who are that are at risk, that need to have a positive influence and mentorship in their lives. And so there are opportunities. We just need to hone those down and work with those organizations to make it happen.
Thank you. And Spiro.
I certainly think there is room for increased funding to a lot of our programs. The first thing I want to do is it's not just nonprofits, it's also the faith community. And so often we have a lot of hands working on the same problem, but nobody knows what the other is doing. The truth is a lot of our kids who are most in need, they're kind of landlocked. They don't have transportation. If it's not within their neighborhood, they're going to have a hard time receiving the benefit of any of these programs. So again, I go back to public transportation, but I think we need to get our faith community and nonprofit community in the same room so everyone can understand what the other is doing. Some churches might have all the volunteers, but not that much of the money. Some churches might have plenty of money, but not enough volunteers. So we need to really connect our community, make sure that we are serving every child as best we can. I believe an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so I do think there's some increased funding necessary, but I think we definitely have to evaluate the effectiveness of that funding in those programs.
Thank you, Spiro. And we're coming right back. More of our coverage from right here at the Convention Center, the Business Expo.
Preparing you for the August 26th mayoral vote. FM Talk 106.5 continues with the mayoral debates, live from the Business Expo. Here with the candidates is Sean Sullivan.
And welcome back, yes, at the Mobile Convention Center during the Chamber of Commerce's Business Expo. All four hopefuls for the next mayor of Mobile here and talking with us. Listen on the radio, of course. People asking, yes, this will post after we're finished here. This will post up on our podcast platforms, and we'll be able to share it that way as well. People are already asking that. Yes, it will be there. We'll just as soon as we can, we'll get it up and let it roll. All right, we continue here with a listener. These are listeners that have emailed in over the last couple of weeks with questions for y'all. So let's get back to this one. The first one was from Adam. This is from James, lives in Mobile, and he has, now this is going to be a three-parter, so I may ask one at a time here. So from James, we'll ask the first question, we'll keep the same order and ask the second question and the third. He said, I would like to know from each candidate for mayor the following questions. Number one, how do you propose to stop the frequent sewage overflows into the city's stormwater drainage system? If we stay with the same here, let's go Spiro first.
We have to take a hard look at our our drainage system. I've toured a lot of our ditches that are really the backbone of our stormwater runoff system. It continually gets overwhelmed. We're the rainiest city in the country by rainfall. We've got a lot of ditches that are operating at 20 and 30% capacity because they haven't been cleaned out in 8, 9, 10 years. We have to get to work on this yesterday. I saw some pictures of Mobile after Katrina the other day, and it was well underwater. It keeps me up at night thinking about that large rain event. If we don't get on this problem right now, there's no telling the amount of devastation we could suffer. So that's a day one issue for me is getting to our ditches, cleaning them out, getting us back up to capacity.
All right, thank you, Paul.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I agree that the ditches need to be cleaned up, but this is a problem that goes back to the previous administration where we put 10-year flood pipes in versus 100-year flood pipes, more than likely, wanting to kind of save and conserve money. The reality is we probably need even a pumping system at some point on different places, being strategic about it, but we've got to audit where our problems are, and then we got to figure out how we're going to fix it. And we could talk about pipes, we could talk about pumping stations, and certainly cleaning the ditches. But until you do a complete audit, we're all just second guessing what's going to happen to be able to fix it.
All right, thank you, Paul. Connie, you are next.
Well, that complete audit is underway right now. The city is undergoing a mapping system for all 44,000 inlets, culverts, and outfalls within the city, and that will pinpoint areas where there's points of failure and public safety hazards, and those are the areas that would have to be addressed first, the priority areas. And so I think that it's coming up with a plan to address those first, and then moving on throughout the system. It's going to require repair work in some areas. It's going to have to clear obstruction in some areas, and then replacement in some areas. But the priorities would come first.
All right, thank you, Barbara.
Well, I think that we would have to also, in addition to looking at the laterals that are within the city of Mobile, we've got to work, and there's a partnership right now with the Mobile Area Water and Sewer Board. I think that is important because now it used to be that they just did their own work. Now they're partnering with the city. When you see the major infrastructure projects, they're going in and they're redoing all of the piping and all of the inlets into those areas now. So I think that partnerships need to be broadened a little bit more, and more money need to be put into it. But I think we also need to look at a master plan because this is something that has been plaguing us for far too long.
That's for sure. All right, we're going to stick with this. Is still the questions from James. Second one here. We'll stay in the same order, too. Are you in favor of allowing Alabama Power to continue to leave waste material from Berry Steam Plant near the Mobile River's edge, or do you favor having it removed? And first up, Spiro.
I certainly favor it being removed. I'm thankful that it's now becoming economically feasible for them to recycle some of that material and use it for construction when it costs less, when you can put money back into solving that issue. I think it's going to happen a little faster for Alabama Power. I do like, currently their plan is to back that wastewater, pump it all out, but back that wastewater pond about 100 yards off of the river, in some areas 300. Again, storms, until that is either capped or removed, a large storm event could put that wastewater directly into our river system. It would be devastating. I will continue to work with Alabama Power and encourage them to do the right thing and protect our river.
Paul.
Absolutely. I don't think it ever should have been put there, but I wasn't the mayor at the time. The reality of it is I think Alabama Power has already committed to a plan to remove it, and the city's responsibility is to work with Alabama Power, build that consensus to make sure they're doing it in a way that it doesn't create further pollution, especially into the runoff into the river. And I think that's a very simple fix, but I'm for moving it.
All right, Connie.
There are 21 million tons of that coal ash in the unlined ponds right now, and I absolutely agree it should be excavated and moved. It's a hazard, it's a risk to the underground water table and to the health and vitality of the community overall, and also the marine life. So yes, it should be moved, but I think it's going to require a lot of collaboration, working together with Alabama Power and our federal authorities, and to make sure that this happens. And the city's role certainly is to be a part of that and to also monitor what's happening and how long it's taking.
Barbara?
I think that all of those options are good. I think that's what we need to look at, all options. Besides having it removed, also look at any recycling opportunities, because in some places coal ash is being used to develop concrete and other things. So I think that we need to look at all options, because when you look at the issue, there's a delicate balance when you're talking about business plus the environment. But we ought to bring all of the players to the table and partner, because we want the very best for Mobile. But I think we need to look at all options. Even EPA has now told Alabama Power Company you can bury some of it. You don't have to line it. So I think that we need to come to the table and look at all options that is best for both of those entities, because we can have a meeting of the mind as well.
All right. And this one, a theme here on the environment. What is and this kind of probably not surprising you, this question is going to come up. What is your position concerning the Corps of Engineers mud dumping of dredge material from the Mobile Ship Channel? First up here, Paul.
Right. So I think it takes real leadership to have engaged in that process long before the Corps engineers started. I think that with what they're doing, whether it's with the oyster beds and the ecosystem out there in the river, there are other things that we can do other than just kind of redumping off to the side some of that soot that's out there. You know, we could do shoreline restoration, work with, nonprofits like Baykeeper that have the best management practices in the industry. But what we're doing, in my opinion, is completely unacceptable. I understand it's got to get done, right, because it's a part of the economy, it's a part of the growth with the port. But the reality of it is leadership should have been engaged in that long before we got to where we are now.
Spiro.
I'm excited that this has become a big issue. I'm excited that we're paying attention, because Mobile Bay is our greatest natural resource as a city. As a scientist, I spoke with one of the scientists in charge of the seagrass restoration in our area, and scientists rely on data, and we don't have a lot of data points right now to say what the effect of that increased turbidity is doing to our environment. But you can't ignore the anecdotal effects. You can't ignore the fishermen who are having smaller catches. You can't ignore the oysters that are dying where they never have before. We're going to have to maintain that dredge channel for the rest of time as long as we want that 50-foot. We've got to make sure that maintenance dredging is going to beneficial use, whether that's upper marsh islands, whether that's habitat restoration, or even creation for wetland areas. We have to make sure that we're not, just because this practice is accepted in other bays doesn't mean it's right for ours.
All right, thank you. Barbara, you're next.
I think that we need to bring all of those partners to the table with the Corps of Engineers, because part of our existence in this part of the state is our eco-life. And we need to make sure that we protect it, but we also want that port to be deepened, because we're going to surpass Houston. But that's why I think it's so important to work with Mobile Baykeepers and other organizations, because I think that got off to the wrong foot. I don't think Baykeepers was looking to take it over, but they wanted to know what the process, because they're looking out for the welfare of this community. So if we can bring all of the players to the table, communications can help.
Thank you, Connie.
And I agree with that. We need to work together to figure out an acceptable solution. The thin layer placement that's currently being used to deposit the dredge material is one of the less expensive options, and I think there are other options, other alternatives, and certainly that we've seen and happening in other states that have less negative impact on the oyster beds and other marine life. And I think it's a matter of getting the attention of EPA, working through our federal legislators and our Corps of Engineers, and making sure that we have the advocacy moving forward to have the money, to demand the money that's necessary for another option that doesn't have hazardous effects on our community and the marine life and our fishing and oystering industries.
Thank you very much. This next one from Freddie in West Mobile. He throws in District 6, so he's doubling up here. Freddie says, do you intend to complete Mayor Stimson's projects, especially Brookley by the Bay? And if not, why? Barbara, you're first.
Well, I want to look at the dollars, and again, I've already asked to meet with and get those dollars amount. But I like the project. I had an opportunity to sit down with Philip Burton, who told me about his project that is on Brookley that will complement that project. I think that anytime we can give more access to the water for citizens, I think it's a good thing. So I'm certainly willing to look at it.
All right, Paul, you're next.
I like the whole concept of Brookley by the Bay. I've not seen all the detailed work of the project. I'd like to see the kind of money that we've already spent, the projected money that we need to spend, but I also agree that giving access to the water is a must, certainly for the community, and we don't have a lot of that in Mobile, but I would certainly take a hard look, find out how we can even make it better.
All right, Connie.
I think it's an exciting project. It will give that accessibility to the waterfront that people have long asked for and wanted to see, and as an entertainment and recreational area. I think we have to look back at the dollars and cents. A lot of money has been obligated by the current administration, the Civic Center, arena projects certainly, and other projects that are ongoing. Those we will complete. You know, they are contractually obligated, and so when I'm mayor, I'm the number one cheerleader for those projects because we've invested heavily. They have to be successful. I will make them do everything in my power to make sure that they are. These other projects that are in the queue right now, there again, we've got to look and see what the overall cost. You know, the cost of projects are going up every day. Every single day that goes by, costs continue to rise. So, but I understand the importance of the community, and I will look into it and do everything I can to bring it to fruition.
Thank you, Connie. This is the last of the listener questions, and we're also going to, I'm sorry, Spiro, yes. I'm so excited about this last question. Spiro, go ahead. We'll get to this one. You answered this one on the project, Brookley by the Bay. Would you finish it?
Are you tired of listening to me?
No, I'm just so excited about this next question. This is the best listener question. Y'all get ready.
Yeah,
but yes.
I think I know that, Freddie, but the answer is yes. You know, I was at Brookley by the Bay yesterday. We don't have to spend a lot of money to make that property amazing. I think Brookley by the Bay is going to be the crown jewel of Mobile's park system, and I think it's okay to do some projects in stages. We don't have to spend I think, an estimated $24 million to do everything out there that we wanted to do at one time. I can tell you right now, with some minimal infrastructure investment, some walking trails, biking trails, a parking pad, and a lot of grass mowing, Brookley by the Bay would be amazing tomorrow. So getting that open for the citizens to enjoy that access to the water immediately, that's something.
So you're saying to open it up, even if everything's not finished, go ahead and get it opened up.
Yeah, let's get it open. We need people. It is gorgeous out there. I walked that beach yesterday. We got some cleanup to do out there, but we don't have to do it all at one time. We can stage this, and we can open that beautiful piece of property to the public without doing the full investment at one time.
All right, thank you. And this is the one that got me to jump so quickly. And all the listener questions, they all did not make it to the sheet I'm holding in my hand right now. But this one from Laurel in Mobile. She said, shortly after the election, are you, and because this is the most city-oriented question, shortly after the election, are you and your volunteers going to take down all the signs that are on the right-of-ways and scattered around the city? That is from Laurel in Mobile. So first up, we'll just inverse. Spiro, you go first.
Well, I hope you won't find many of my signs on the right-of-way.
They're
not supposed to be there, so I try not to keep
them there. Our phones ring,
but
our text lines go when people say there's signs here, there's signs there, and they're good with it, but they say, hey, after elections, not y'all's, but after there's election, these signs keep sitting there. So can we get so Laurel's saying, will you and your volunteers take down all the signs that are in the right-of-way or scattered around the city?
Absolutely. You know, when it comes to the big signs, they'll be down. Any random right-of-way signs, we'll get them down immediately. But if all my friends want to keep those signs in their yard for a little while, I'm not going to be mad at them.
Very good. Connie.
Yes. I've always made sure that my signs were down. I respect people. I don't want to litter. You know, having these signs out are part of the campaigning, and people are patient with that. But after the election, they want them gone, and I want them gone too.
All right, Paul.
Absolutely, and I'm going to go one step further, that within 7 days, every one of my signs, the big signs, certainly the ones on the right-of-way, will be taken down. I've already got 5 volunteers with 5 trailers ready to roll when this thing's over, when I win the entire election in the general election on August 26th.
All right, Barbara.
I certainly will. It's really funny because some people are taking mine down now. but I will take them down. But it's going to be wonderful. You're going to want my sign because you're going to see that this is a historic moment. You're going to want my signature on that sign. So bring it to me.
Very good. Laurel, see, we got your question asked there. Yeah, but I just said, out of all the ones that were emailed in, that was the one that got my attention because that's the kind of stuff we hear about doing what I do for a living. All right, so let's do this for closing remarks here, and we'll just do the reverse. We opened up with the order of the candidate getting in the race, and chronologically. So we will back that out and start off with the last going to the first person in the race. So Barbara Drummond, you are first for closing statements.
Again, I want to thank you, Sean, for this great opportunity. And those of you that are listening, I want you to know that this is Representative Barbara Drummond, a native of Mobile, someone who loves this city and sees nothing but bright future. So on August the 26th, when you get ready to pull that level, look at somebody who has experience not only in county government, city government, and now in state government, and have those federal relationships. She can take this city to the next level. On day one, she will know what door to knock on and what things to do. Our city is great. I am so happy to be in this race. So on August the 26th, go out to the polls and pull the level for Representative Barbara Drummond.
Thank you, Paul Bryan.
Listen, experience really does matter. My resume speaks for itself. My experience has already been in the community for the last 27 years. What is most important in the leader? We've all given you ideas of what our responses are going to be, but the truth is, how do you know what we're going to do? Are you going to have buyer's remorse in 4 years? The reality of it is it cost me something with the current administration to do the right thing, even when it cost me an early retirement. That's the man that you're going to get. I'm not going to give you a story that's going to twist and manipulate truth to make myself look good. I'm a real servant leader. I'm not going to tell you that I reduced crime or did something else that I had absolutely nothing to do with. I'm certainly not going to tell you that I'm going to revitalize the neighborhood that I live in when I've been in some form of office and could have done it for the last 20 years. Paul Bryan is a man that means what he says what he means. He can't be bought. He certainly can't be intimidated. And if I'll do the right thing by myself and it costs me something publicly, you can rest assured Paul Bryan will do it for you. Paul Bryan for mayor.
Okay, thank you. And Spiro Chirigatis.
Mobile's a big city, and big cities are going to have issues. They always will, and I'm all in on finding solutions to every one of them. But we cannot, I hope we will not lose sight of all the reasons we have to be optimistic in our city. I'm looking forward to reorganizing the city's efforts to combat gun violence, but I'm also looking forward to spending an afternoon with my family at Brookley by the Bay. I'm looking forward to fighting blight in our community. I'm also looking forward to taking that first flight out of Brookley International Airport. I'm looking forward to fixing our traffic issues with tools like AI, but I'm also looking forward to the fact that the train's here. We have year-round cruises again. When it comes to the city of Mobile, I'm looking forward to what's next for our city because I believe the future of Mobile is bright. I am all in when it comes to finding and helping Mobile reach that full potential and realizing that bright future. On August 26th, I'm asking you to join me. I'm asking you to trust me with your vote. I'm asking you to go all in with me.
Thank you. And Connie Hudson.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a pivotal time for the future of our city. This election will affect the next generation and beyond, and it boils down to leadership. My style of leadership is one that sets high standards, that demands accountability, that trust and appreciates the ability of people to come together and work together and to collaborate. My style of leadership is one that can get things done. I have a history. I have a proven record of getting things done, and it's by working with others. And so I am the only candidate in this race who has served in local government, both city and county, who's been an elected official, and I have been for 24 years. I have the experience with budgets. I'm the only candidate in this race who has worked on major capital projects, hundreds of $1 million in capital projects, and brought them from concept to fruition. And so I offer that experience. I offer that ability to work with others. I can roll up my sleeves and get to work on day one. home, August 26th. Please vote for Connie Hudson for mayor of Mobile.
Thank you to all the candidates for being here today and talking with us, and big thank you to the Mobile Chamber of Commerce for putting on the Business Expo and having us as part of it. This discussion, if you've just caught part of it or you want to share it with friends, will be up on our podcast pages as soon as possible, and you can share it out there. Once again, this has been a conversation with one person who will be our next mayor in just under 2 weeks' time on FM Talk 106.5.
The Mobile Mayor Vote is August 26th. Support your candidate. Support your community. Vote to support Mobile. For more information on this election, visit cityofmobile.org. And thank you for listening to this mayoral debate. Turning up your voice. FM Talk 106.5.